Right.
Right, I wanted to say something before we actually start the meeting proper. It seems a bit odd perhaps saying it to so few people, but I wanted to say thank you to the members of this committee, because this is a hard-working committee. I think we've been very diligent, and what's been particularly pleasing is, you know, when we have had disagreements about things, we've managed to handle them with courtesy and with politeness. So I think it's been I feel it's been a good year for the committee. We started some interesting new work, and we've continued with the kind of bread and butter thing. So thank you, thanks everybody for that. The second thing I wanted to say is that we are in a rather strange situation with this meeting, because of its timing. We're in a kind of interregnum really, because we've had the annual council meeting, but the next time that the planning committee meets, there will be a new committee. So we're kind of meeting in an interim position, which has some kind of practical difficulties really in terms of looking at planning applications over the next few weeks. But I'm going to address that when we get to item 9. So yeah, thanks everybody. So welcome, and I particularly welcome to Harry, who's bravely decided to come and join the committee. But I think it was sorted. It could just be once, and then you'll see how you feel. Good. Right. So welcome everybody, particularly Harry. So the open session. There are no members of the public here, and I guess no members of the committee want to speak as a member of the public. Right, so we shall move on to item 1, which is recording. Does anybody wish to make a recording in addition to that which has already been made? No? Okay, thank you. Right, item 2, apologies for absence. So Councillor Colling has given apologies and a reason for her absence. Councillors Joe Lyles and Damien Brooke have given apologies but no reasons for their absence, and what we do is we agree to the reasons for the absence rather than the absence itself. So I guess can we agree to the reason for Pat Collins' absence? Yeah. Happy with that? Okay. I'll just notify the fact that there are 2 other councillors who are not here.
No, Damien was in Manchester earlier today, so
it might be work.
when I spoke to him, I thought, I'm assuming he's not going to be in Manchester.
Right, item 3. Sorry.
Yeah. There were 2 other absences.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There were 2 other absences.
There were 2 other absences.
We've had we've got one other absence, Councillor Firth. I've not heard from him. And Councillor Fenwick, I did speak to him this morning, and he's hello.
Great. Good.
I think we said his name too many.
It's fast,
Right. We are. So we're glad you're here, Donald. Yes.
Good to see your presence.
Yes.
Right, so
Right.
Councillor Firth is it. So
Not
yet.
Right.
Councillor Fenwick, I spoke to earlier. He has sent apologies for today, and he asked me to pass on that he did send apologies last time. He left them on the answer phone. I didn't pick them up because didn't come in as a new message, unfortunately. But can we? He's asked that we can amend the attendance on that because he
for the last meeting. Yeah, we're happy to do that. To accept apologies. Yes, thank you. And we're happy to accept his apology for this meeting. Yes.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah. Thank you. Right. Item 3. Are there any? Does any members want to declare anything? Any personal or disclosable pecuniary interests? Anybody on the application list? No. Okay. Thank you. And officers?
No, nothing from me.
Right. Thank you. Okay. Item 4. Have there been any new written requests requests for DPR dispensations?
Not that I've had. I expect that Councillor Davis has sent one in, but it will go into the next full council. Or did it go into?
It's
it
already,
went into
it's
the-
already been considered.
In which case?
Yeah.
No.
In which case, no, okay, right, item 5, do we wish to discuss any part of the agenda in private session? No?
Can't say anything. But,
Okay.
Wood is sure white private.
What was that, Donald?
I can't say anything, but it's in
No.
a private session.
No, that was my feeling as well. So, let's move on to the minutes of last meeting. Can we approve the minutes of the last meeting?
Yeah.
Please, yes, okay, thank you.
Can I just say that with the amendment for the apology on that one?
Yeah. And do you have anything to update us on?
Not
It's
it's not already.
It's not already on the agenda. Okay, right. Okay, no further action there. So move on to the Kirklees planning applications. Can we note the list, planning applications for February? We note that. Noted, thank you. So we get onto the planning applications for this new ones. Nobody notified me of any additional ones in addition to the ones that I sent you. So I assume you're happy with that. Okay. So the first one is number 1 on our list, which is Mount View at Sheffield Road in the Greenbelt, demolition of conservatory. Okay, anybody look at this, have any views?
I didn't
No.
see a real problem with it, to be honest with you. It's just, I mean, that side of the road, there's 4 or 5 bungalows fairly in this undistinguished area, I think is architecturally anyway.
Yeah, and the land slopes down
Yes,
quite steeply, so although they're putting something on top of the garage,
It's not
going to
going to be
impact,
seen.
is that can be seen. So yeah, and Pat has sent her comments on it, and Pat was happy to support that, as indeed was I. So we're happy to.
Yeah,
Happy to
all
support
the
that.
materials match.
Okay.
There's an additional car parking space now. So there's still.
Excellent. Right, and then the next one was power lines, and I got quite excited, but actually when I looked at the detail, it was a tiny little thing. Thought, oh, this could be interesting,
Yeah.
but actually it wasn't that interesting when I actually looked at the detail.
It
So-
actually strengthens the network as well.
It strengthens the network, which evidently has been poor in schools. I don't I'm not aware of that. So are we happy to support
Yeah.
that? But what I couldn't understand seems to be removing 2 poles and then putting 1 in, but not enough technical knowledge to actually. So we'll support that. Thank you. And then number 3 is a new building in the Greenbelt. Right. Well, I've got some views on this. A new building in the Greenbelt. Anybody else have a look at this?
Kick us off.
Yeah, go and kick us off.
I don't think we've established any special circumstances for the living room belt. The climate statement.
Work is same as far as I'm concerned, no bill.
Yeah, particularly for
Mhm.
CCS. I just thought it was
Yeah.
an inappropriate development in Greenbelt. Straightforward.
My feeling exactly. Anybody else look at it? The size of the proposed building is much larger than that of the existing stables and the shed thing. It's on an unmade up road as well. I think it's So did anybody else look? I think we're kind of moving towards opposing this. It could be trouble.
Is it down the track, down the back of
It's
the
down
road?
the track.
Yeah,
down
it's
the
a little
cliff
thing
road.
now, yeah.
Yeah, there's very oddly, there's that bungalow, that red brick bungalow, which, I don't know how that, anyway, that was obviously built some time ago, so it's just next to that.
Yeah, so I think there's another application coming up later. I think when you've got agricultural buildings, there's been laws changed or something's passed that means that if they're so old, you can convert the buildings into houses for agricultural buildings.
Yeah.
But this is a
This is-
stable. It's
Yeah.
different, isn't it? It's
And it's a demolition.
and it's a lot bigger.
of
It's
it,
so it's
It is,
yeah.
okay, and we're happy to oppose that because
Yeah.
inappropriate development in the green belt, I think harming the openness of green belt and the access is on an unmade up road. Okay,
Yep.
you happy with that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. And the next one is Poplar Avenue. No, Aristotle Farm. A change of use. Agricultural building to 3 dwellings. Okay, one 3-bed and one 4-bed, large one single story, look like sheds really. Anybody else have a look at this?
Yeah, I had a look at this one because it's in my ward.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a it's right on the edge. It's a bit of one of those weird places out in the sticks, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is the one I was thinking about when I was mentioning then about the stables. These agricultural buildings, and if you have been there for so long, there is apparently you are allowed to convert them into buildings out into houses. But and this does look to be on the same footprint of it. I'm not really that keen on it, to be honest. But like you like to see farms remaining as farms, don't you? And agricultural buildings like that. But I don't know if there's any actual planning consideration we can have to refuse it. Maybe over intensification of the site. It does seem quite. There's already a farm there, and they're digging 3 houses on it as well. But I don't know what we could actually refuse it on.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
we
Yes,
could-
yes,
It's
no, like,
distinctly
yeah.
different to the last one,
Yes.
is it? It's a conversion, not
Yeah.
Yeah, it
demolition.
is, yeah.
I agree with you, you end up with old looking houses, but I suppose that's up to them, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I said over intensification is what I meant. It's quite a bit of houses going on in that same little block.
But the buildings are
But-
already there now.
Yeah,
The buildings
it's.
are already there, you know.
We're not overly keen on it.
I
So.
thought there were a lot of technicalities about this class Q conditions, and I thought perhaps to some extent that was perhaps best left to officers. I can't say I had any real concerns about it, other than it doesn't look very pretty to me. But
You're not buying.
I'm not buying it.
Somebody might want to buy it.
Nice location where it is.
And I guess there would be more detailed planning permission if they get this change of use, because there's nothing,
Yes,
no
it's the same.
CCS.
No, it is a prior notification.
So I guess it will come back
Yeah.
Can I just interject on this? Years ago, and I don't know, and we never had much green belt put in front of us at Kirklees, but when we had, there was a gentleman somewhere up, I think it was at Scapegoat Hill, wanted to convert some old buildings into living accommodation at Greenbelt, and that was a no-no then, because it wasn't like they could put the buildings back into the usage they were already built for, but they couldn't make it into a domestic dwelling in the Greenbelt. And he tried to fight it, but he lost. That's the only thing. Well, I don't think things should have altered in that time, I would have thought so.
I mean, I'm with Tom really, that I can't see a reason not to.
I get what Donald's saying, and I agree with it. But I think the laws have changed.
Yeah,
You know
I think
that,
there's, I
Harry.
think, yeah.
You're nodding and I'm speaking.
There is a.
Yeah.
If they've been left alone for so long, you are allowed to, not renovate the houses if only if they've been left for so long.
Okay.
It comes down to the percentage of how much modifications needed to make it into a house.
Yeah.
If this is more than
Yeah, yeah.
a percentage, then it's a no-no, but
So I
these
think,
are the technicality now.
I think we're kind of veering between support and deferring to Kirklees Council. Should we defer to Kirklees Council? Just to say that Pat wished to support it, she thought it was okay. So we defer. And now we come to 2 Poplar Avenue, Thorns Bridge, variation of condition.
Took a while for me to wade through this one,
Oh
and I'm
gosh,
it
there
was
was
a mail.
loads, wasn't there? Loads and loads.
Actually, I think it's fairly
Yeah.
straightforward, isn't it?
It was quite simple, isn't it? It's a house kind of built in the back with access along parallel to the road, and a house built in the back garden, and all they've done really is most reclassify parking, which was for number 2, for taken that away because now number 2 has got its own parking.
And I remember it coming through.
So
as-
we did, yeah, it wasn't very long ago.
And I mean, effectively, all they're asking is, can we move
No.
parking space from
Yeah.
one place to another? And
We last year 2024 we supported it then, but we made the comment subject to no overlooking and that parking was sufficient parking. Well, obviously if they're removing this parking place now removing it from number 2 and I presume giving it to them. I think we can only support it to be consistent. You okay?
Yeah.
Support it?
Yeah.
Pat? That's what Pat thought as well. Right, number 10, change of use. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Yeah, it's got quite a history of parking, and I think last time it kind of foundered on the retaining wall and access to access out onto the road. So this is a new application, which has kind of solved that problem, but by keeping the existing practice of parking, which is in like a little yard really. So they've had pre-application advice. It's a 2-bed property, and it's very, very long, addressing the conditions that were imposed in the previous refusal, so it's a bit of a long read. My feeling was that we could support it, but maybe just raise the question about parking, because it's a 2-bed dwelling, and there seems to be only one parking place.
yeah, I thought that as well.
You thought, anybody else got
The only
views
other
on this one?
comment I made, it was the CCS again. Felt a bit different. I think they could do better when it's effectively almost a new building, isn't it?
I mean,
I was a little surprised they could get a car in that space, but when I had a look today, there was a car parked.
I think
It's
somebody-
quite handy,
I think
actually.
somebody's been making a point of putting a car in.
So when I took the photos, definitely a car there every time. Are we okay to go with that? Can we go with support, but actually raise the issue about sufficient parking?
Wasn't a smart car, was it?
No, it was bigger than that.
Okay.
It wasn't a big SUV, but
Right, next one, number 11, delightful name, Marikari, Clifftop Lane only. It's massive building, looks like a huge building, and I'd be interested to know what people thought. Pat wanted to support. Pat wanted to support this one.
They've gone to some length to make sure the materials all match the existing. I thought that north facing extension looks fine. The south facing one.
Is that the flat roof? Is that the flat roof?
Flat roof, yeah. But apart from the flat roof, it looks odd.
It
It
looks
doesn't look in
ridiculous.
keeping with the rest of the
And
building.
it's got that chimney coming up, the
Which I
main
think is a
feature of
positive.
this chimney.
Mm.
So it's already got chimneys.
I suppose that's a matter of
Yeah,
personal
taste,
taste, isn't it?
isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, other
But
than that, I
it's-
couldn't really see too much wrong with it.
I mean, it's a huge site, isn't it? It's not
it is,
going to
yeah.
bother anybody else. And I think it's one of these when I would quite like to oppose it, but I don't think there are any actually planning
Just a really
considerations.
looking extension.
Yeah.
That's all I thought. Yeah.
I don't think that. Did anybody else
And the thing that struck me was, well, the only people who could see it from outside the site are passengers on the train.
Yeah.
And that's about it. It's, there's no footpaths around it. Yeah. I mean,
Shall
a big house made bigger.
A big house made bigger. Made ugly. I got that first picture of it. It's really lovely. So, Pat wishes to support this.
Is that from the back?
The top one.
Are you looking at that flat roofed extension with the huge get chimney? I think we have to support it. I don't think there's any option really. Okay, we support.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. And then, an old favourite. Come back to haunters again for about the third time, I think. And obviously somebody, as Andy pointed out Friday, somebody taking advantage of the new grey belt, proposals, which are really, I think, still being worked through. So this has been the last application, I think. Well, there was one 2021 refused, 2023 refused, and then the 2023 went to an appeal, that was dismissed. We last time we opposed it. Inappropriate development in the green belt, and there were no special circumstances to justify building, and access concerns along what is
The same should apply from tonight.
Really, what was that?
I said the same should apply from tonight.
Yeah,
If they're silly enough to keep putting it in, we're silly enough to keep stopping it. Simple as that.
I tend to agree with you there, Donald. Yes.
I mean, even the chairman said, I saw the night he said, because signing on with the new legislation. But Joe Scruton said quite clearly that nothing changes until they've reviewed all the green belt. So
Yes, exactly.
I think he's jumped the gun.
And it was trying to because it's never been developed. I mean, it's like an anomaly because it's a bit of green belt that kind of sticks out, but it's very valuable in terms of it and the views. So shall we oppose again?
Yes.
Are we happy to oppose again?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's we would want to oppose it for the same reasons last time, I guess. Inappropriate development in the green belt, no special circumstances, and no problems with the access. Does anybody anything? I don't know. I'd probably not want to say anything about the green belt. Grey belt rather at the moment, but it's definitely not previously developed land. So there
It was sold as grazing land.
grazing land. Right.
And there is evidence from, I don't know what report it was, there is biodiversity in the land.
Yes.
So,
Okay. I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah. That's good.
Can we look at, while we are on item 9, also this interim measure that we're going to need?
We're not on that tonight.
Oh no, we're not.
So there's nothing to report on tonight.
We're on.
Well, item 8 will be quickly dismissed. Nothing to report, nothing to consider. So, right. So item 9 is onwards. Yes. What happens next civic year? Can we simple things get out of the way first? So can we note the resolution of the full council in terms of the future of the planning committee? Are we happy to? It's already been to full council. Can we just note that? Thank you. Right, and then the second thing, which be fairly straightforward, is really just to note, because we don't wish to, just maybe to explain, we don't want to make any decisions at this point which are going to bind the new planning committee, so it just seems a bit strange. So the list of characteristics of which is document E, the criteria really for commenting on planning applications. Can we note that? Does anybody wish to seek any amendments to it? So this is just suggestions really. on
You can make
amendments.
recommendations, although we are changing committees as we always do at the annual council meeting. It could well be that we end up with the same people on the committee, but we don't know that for sure. I know that you were keen not to tie anybody into that, but what you can do is that they will create their own terms of reference for a subcommittee and for their selection process. However, you can make recommendations based on your experience so far, if you want to. You don't have to.
Would we, first of all, I'm gathering nobody wants to suggest any changes at this point to the, we did amend it at our last meeting, I think. In that case, how strongly do we want to lean on our successor? Do we want to make a recommendation that they accept this at least at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're happy. Can we have a vote? Can we have a vote on that? Thank you. Okay, so we are recommending that for next year, 25-26, the planning committee at least starts with these characteristics or criteria. Right. Now we have one other pressing thing I mentioned right at the beginning of the meeting. So after today. The next scheduled planning committee is not until the 30th of June. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Which is a heck of a long time to leave without, you see how many planning applications we had when we had a gap of about 7 weeks. So we can't.
So it'd be 9.
9. So it would be an awful long period. The way that Gemma suggested that we handle this, and I agree, is that we perhaps just set a sort of strange working group, which is going to meet for only once, more or less in the middle of that 9-week period, to look at planning applications. There doesn't seem to be any other way really of handling this. Are you happy to go with that?
Yeah.
We meet.
So can that be just this committee?
I think it might be easiest to do it that way.
Everybody
Yeah.
consents to it.
Everybody, yeah, I think, yes, so I suppose we need to think about the composition. So we're happy to say that that working group would consist of everybody currently on this committee to be invited. So, okay, can we just go on that? So happy to do that, thank you. Right. In terms of timing, obviously Gemma has to send out the applications, then I have to look at them and decide which ones fulfil the criteria. So we're suggesting that Gemma will send out the list on the Thursday 22nd of June. Yeah. May. Sorry, yeah, that would be a bit late, wouldn't it? So it's like May. Yeah.
Only because I'm on the holiday.
Yes, and then we could meet in the following week as a working group. So
would we stick to the Monday?
it's a bank holiday, I think.
It is a bank holiday.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, it's a bank holiday, so I guess we wouldn't wish to meet on the bank holiday, would we really? So I know this is always a nightmare, isn't it, trying to find a date. Shall I just go through the week? Well, I think we need to decide it now so that people have plenty of notice. It is half term if that affects anybody. It would have to be an evening meeting at 7 o'clock, presumably. So can people do? Can we have? I don't know if we've got a mucus of people can do the Tuesday the 27th.
I can't do
You
Tuesday.
can't do Tuesday, right? Wednesday.
Are they on a ship somewhere in Greece?
Oh, you're looking. Well, we don't expect you to turn up in that.
Well,
case.
I hadn't intended to.
Am I
When-
right, Wednesday, Thursday,
Wednesday.
Friday?
Wednesday, okay.
Fine.
Wednesday 28th.
Wednesday, are you all right, Harry?
Yep.
For Wednesday,
Yep.
but that's Wednesday the 28th.
And we're going to go for 7 p.m. as a normal meeting.
Sorry, I didn't quite
7
catch that.
p.m.
Yeah, sorry, I missed it. Yeah, so that will be a working group on planning acts, okay. I don't think we need, we could crack it ourselves, I think.
Yeah, I mean, as it's a working group, you're free to do that, and you're not doing a full agenda. You're only doing
No, we're just doing
doing
one
one
item.
Yeah, so
But if you
Yeah.
want support, I can ask General Rich if that's what you want. But
I think we probably manage, I can get a willing victim, if I'm chair, and get a willing victim. Can I say that, a willing victim, to, yeah.
I'll book you some time.
No, thank you. Okay, so that's Wednesday 28th of May, definitely May, at 7 o'clock. And that will, and all members of the planning committee will be invited. I guess you're not summoned to working party, are you?
So what you'll need to do as chair after that is send it to me when it's written
Yeah.
up, and I will send forward it to Kipleys on the 3rd when I'm back.
You, people okay with that? We finished in record time, obviously. Right, so we're moving on to item 10, traffic calming. Would Councillor Wilson like to report on the 6?
Second favourite subject. I did ask, I went through freedom of information with Kirklees to try and find out what's happening with our 2 seats. Not a great deal wise, I have to say. The first one of our seats was on site in New Will, if you remember, about a year ago. But they still haven't downloaded any data from it. Or they said there's no data downloaded. So we're none the wiser. They're saying that the locations for this particular seat are still to be agreed. But yet we agreed the first 5 of those way back. So quite why they think they're not agreed, I don't know. They also say that they're now only repositioning these things every 3 months. Now the best practice actually says, well, there's a bit of a quote, aim for each site to have a SID operational for a minimum of 3 times per year, ensuring they are not left in place for more than 2 weeks at a time. So 3 months is stretching it a little bit. I was under the impression that they were doing them 2 monthly when we first did this. I don't know whether anybody else remembers.
I don't think 2 months, 3 months, I think that would kind of be acceptable to me. The ones on Sheffield Road has been there about 6 months.
Just that it's a long time before it gets back to
It's
its
been there for
first
ages.
place.
It's been since well into last year, like it's been there, the one on Sheffield Road. It's rubbish that they haven't moved it.
They sent me some data, but it's only what we've already had. And the last one we had was from Greenfield Road, if you remember, outside the school, which is now over a year out of date. And just to add insult to injury, we can't share it. I just feel that we've got a poor deal with this. I think if I was starting again, I would think, let's keep our money. But it just seems poor.
I suppose it has led to some action by police, hasn't it? That's it.
It has.
That's about the only way to look
Yeah.
at it, really, is it? And you never know
It's
how
really
you
good.
never know how many people have slowed down because of it. You know, it's not. I wouldn't see it as a waste of time because I think some drivers do slow down, don't they, when it
Yes,
when it
I'm
flashes
sure you're
up.
right.
So yeah, Tom.
Can we write to them and ask if they could, reiterate the sites that we mentioned of locating the SIDs and asking if they can move the current one, because it's been there since about October. And like, there's loads of other places that could be at, like we mentioned, like Schollsmore Road and other things like that. There's loads of places that can be at. So, and ask them why well, they've already explained to Andy, I suppose, why, because they're not trying to have any more locations, but can we just write to them and reiterate the locations and ask them when, ask them to move it currently, and then to give us a timetable of how long it's going to be at the next location, and then it's going to move on to the other one.
They've
Yes.
put one on Scolton Road now,
Yes,
Oh, is that
there's
the one?
there
but
now,
it's
yeah.
just as you come into
Yeah.
the village from Hay Edge.
Yeah.
And the place it needs to be is at the top of the
It's
hill.
wrong, it's the wrong place, are you absolutely
Well,
right?
you can't put it there because there's no steel column, no steel lamps down there. It's not catching, well, it'll catch a few speeders.
Is that the Kirklees Council one then, the one that was by the high school that's been moved?
Well,
I presume so.
We
We don't know.
We don't know which.
We don't know
we
which
don't
is
know
which.
now, do we?
It could be ours, actually. Well, who
Could
knows?
be ours.
It is just to get a bit more clarity on the situation.
Unfortunately, the chap that deals with it won't, I've tried emailing him, I've tried ringing him and he won't respond, so I don't know where we go next.
Does anybody think it's worth involving our Kirklees Council? Is that a suggestion?
Councillor Crookhouse dealt with it before, didn't he?
Yes,
Do we ask our councillors to
That's all,
Yeah.
take action?
We're paid.
yes, that's.
Yeah.
We do,
Okay,
we
get
paid
on.
for one, yeah,
Is it,
yeah.
is it?
It has to be fitted into the Kirklees programme, obviously,
Right,
it
yeah.
can't have its own separate
Yeah.
programme, but it would be quite good to know how it's fitted into
Yeah.
that programme, and we haven't had that.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, shall we write to the
Is it Councillor Crook who is responsible for overseeing?
it was Councillor Crooks that we did
Yes,
deals
alright,
with,
isn't it?
but it may be a good idea perhaps to liaise perhaps.
I mean, I wouldn't have thought, Kirklees must know the programme. And I can't see it's
Yeah.
beyond their ken to send the programme to us and say, oh, A
Yeah.
and B are yours.
I thought we might have seen it, didn't we?
We gave them a programme.
We gave them one, didn't we?
But it'd be nice to know
So,
where theirs are going as well as ours. And I say they must have a programme drawn up, a rolling programme with 12 monthly one, I guess. That would be my working assumption, rather than, oh God, what way are we putting it tomorrow?
I mean, it sounds as though there's no point in contacting the officer, because if you're not getting any response, I think it has to go
we
in,
go straight to Mo Crook.
going straight to Mo Crook, yeah.
Have they ever sent you a piece of paper saying where they're going to move them to and when they're going to move them?
No, that's what we'd like.
Because they never did to me, they just simply waited for me to tell them where to put it. And if I didn't tell them, they didn't put it anywhere. Simple as that. They could have come to me and said, look, this is where we'd like to go. You can always say, well, we don't want it there, I want it here, wherever. But I got no bits of paper telling me that they've got a plan to move these amount, because they haven't got a plan. They haven't then. Whether they haven't planned me now or not, I have no idea. But it's unfair on this council when you don't know where they're going to put them.
No, I
If
think
you can't give, if they send you a letter and said, here's what I want to do in a month's time, where do you want it put in, then somebody in one of the wards would know a really good place to put it. Simple as that. It's not rocket science, is it?
I suggest that we write to Councillor Crook and copy it to the other two, Hon Valley Side councils.
Have we got any officers and names down there that do this, out of highways?
Well, we're not getting a response from them, so I
It
think
just
we've
doesn't
got,
apply.
yeah, so I think we've got, so we want to send details of the locations that we'd identified previously. Ask if the one that's still on is it still on Mill Road
Sheffield Road.
is moved, because it's been there six months or so. And can we have could they let us know where it's going to be moved to next? I mean, we shouldn't really forget Honley either, should we? I guess that second one we bought is still outside Honley High, but I don't know, and there's nobody from any of the Honley wards here to tell us. I mean, it was definitely needed there. So
Well, we
maybe
should-
it could stay there till the end of the
We sort of gave
academic
a
year.
commitment to the high school pupils
Yes.
for one year, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, so I
attempt
think
to
maybe
get
that's.
one there.
We might need a location location for the summer though, like during the summer holidays, it
Yes,
probably needs to be there.
it
No,
could
can't
be.
it?
Yeah.
Do you want me to find
When
out?
it's sort of schedule.
Sorry,
Do you want me to find out?
to follow who?
Find out for Home Valley North councillors.
Oh, right. Well, any communication is probably good, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
I think Hollow one's doing its job at the moment, and it's not,
Yeah, I
it's not
think
been
it
there that
will.
long, so
Yeah,
I think it's
I think it
okay.
will.
Not that bothered about that one.
Yeah.
It's the other ones I'm bothered about.
No, we don't know where it goes next.
We don't know where it goes next,
Mm.
though.
Well, yeah, I suppose we need some recommendations for that one, don't we?
My impression from Councillor Greaves is that it doesn't go next until we.
Until we say,
Yeah.
okay, right.
But I may have got that wrong.
Sounds about right, from what Paul
So
said.
Well, can we check that? Is it possible to check that?
Could we
With
give,
that, with
could we
the,
give Kirklees a list
with
of locations?
Councillor Bellamy and I mean, do any of us feel qualified to say where it should go to after the high school in Honley?
I think that one was, I think the Kirklees North councillors said they were going to decide.
Are they
anyway.
going to decide?
I think
Okay.
all we'd said was, well, we wanted
Put it
to
in the school.
at
Okay,
the school.
put it at the school.
Now, whether they've done anything,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe just to ask if there's any progress.
So where it might go next
Where it
and
might
when.
go, where
I
it
mean,
might
we
go
have got
next.
a list of our first camera where we wanted
Yeah.
it to go.
Yes. Yeah.
And I could probably dig that out if you
If you
want
could
to.
resend it, I'm sure Rob will have it
Yeah.
in
that-
the
Yeah, well, I'm
next
gonna say,
that would be
time
interesting.
somewhere, but
Somewhere.
my head's on it
No.
quickly.
I think we identified 5 out of the possible 8 locations, and there's only 3 more to do.
Yeah.
But with plenty of time to sort those out.
Is that okay? Are people clear what we're trying to do? That's been disappointing.
I just feel really
It's been really
disappointed by it.
disappointing. But as I said, you know, I'm just glad that they're there and
Yeah.
you know they're having would be having some effect. So it's not totally wasted money. Moving on to next item, school parking bollards. Tom.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Right,
oh,
right,
oh,
right.
right, isn't Tom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Councillor Dixon kindly passed on the contact details for school. They've been in touch today, hoping to deliver this week.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
Hooray. They've been sitting around there for a long time.
Sitting in
waiting for
John
a
Ford's
home,
garage
so-
for a while, so
Good.
we'll be pleased to see rid of them, I think.
Excellent. Good, thank you. Right. Item 11, that ongoing highways campaigns. Any, have you got an update?
I can update
You
on
can
Ramsden
update
Road,
on
which is
Ramsden
getting
Road.
down.
Okay.
I went to the cabinet meeting on 15th of April because they are putting forward permanent TRO on these roads. The trouble is that they are proposing still allowing motorbikes to use them, which seems to be nonsense, seeing as motorbikes seem to be most of the problem. There were several people spoke. We all spoke against it and said we thought that the motorbike thing was unworkable the way it had been suggested, but they decided to do it anyway. So, slightly disappointed to say the least. I was also quite surprised. There were only actually 2 councillors there, the chair and one other. So 2 people decided on this. There were no people from the public on the council. Bit bizarre. So they're introducing permanent TROs on these routes, but having a licensing system to allow motorbikes to use it. How it will work, we shall find out. So we can do no more. I think we can take those off now.
Okay. That'll be a relief. In a way.
Yeah.
So that's Ramsgate Road and Cheesengate now, you're suggesting that we can, yeah.
There are others as well, the Scaling Gate and can't remember the others.
Cotworth Moor Road. As it says in the agenda, residents of Cotworth Moor received a letter from Paul Davis MP regarding enforcement at Windy Ridge Quarry.
As it happens, one of our staff and team lives up that way and
Yes,
received the
of
letter.
course, yeah.
So she's kindly passed it on and can't really share it, I've only got a
No.
print of it. But enforcement is starting.
Very quiet up there.
Very bright.
I see doing anything at all.
Well, it's exceedingly quiet during the week now, because there's only the one quarry next to the cricket field that's doing any work.
Yeah.
The troublemakers seem to have, well, they've disappeared.
Well, rumour has it that,
Well, one of them
Yeah.
disappeared behind some bars, apparently.
Remember in public session.
Oh, gosh.
Right, so I think in terms of the minutes, we just note that local residents have received a letter from Paul Davis MP, and
Notice.
enforcement is happening, so note that. Thank you. Right. Item 12, the PhD student from Manchester. For Manchester Metropolitan University. He was lots of furious, and I don't mean furious in terms of people being angry, but quick exchanges of emails really between this student and the clerk and the assistant clerk and me, and in the end. It appeared that he had something to submit. He was under time pressure because he had a chapter to submit. So, which is fair enough, and it is it isn't a lot of pressure really. But he's happy to come for a face-to-face meeting, an in-person meeting, in June or July. So.
Can I just add in?
Yes,
I did hear from him yesterday.
Oh, brilliant, thank you.
And he said that he'd rather go for June, please, if that's possible.
I'd rather go for June, okay.
But he's pretty flexible in June.
Would the best way to do this, obviously it's not a lot of members missing from this committee meeting today, just to circulate some possible dates.
Well, you've got the whole of June to play with, so
You've
if
got
anybody
the
wants to
whole of June to play with,
any
yeah.
out now, that might make it
Nice.
easier. If there's anybody that desperately wants to come but can't
Should
really.
we do it when it's the planning meeting?
No, I don't think we can make it part. I don't think we can make it
How
part of the
does it
meeting
fit with
because.
the new planning?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What pearls of wisdom is this guy going to import upon us when it comes to meters?
I think it's rather the other way. I think it's rather that we share our pearls of wisdom
And if we share them, what's going to do with it?
with him, really.
PhD.
PhD. We thought it would be interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever turns you on.
Well, you don't have to come. It won't be compulsory.
Well, I'm really pleased to hear that.
Okay, shall we? Good suggestion from Gemma. Is there any days in June that we don't particularly want to do? So not the 3rd.
We don't know the makeup of the committee yet, do we?
A trustee meeting. No, we don't. But
Should we suggest dates after the full council maybe? No, I don't know.
yes, these get.
I'll probably do it now. Just do it now.
Yes, just to
I mean, it
It
doesn't
doesn't
have
have
to be necessarily just committee members as well.
No, that's true. I think
Yeah,
it's.
we may,
I think
may invite the
we
local council, we
Yeah.
may invite.
But Tuesday the 3rd is a land charity trustee meeting, so we're all involved in that. So it can't be June. It can't be June the 3rd.
I'll still be away.
Oh, what a shame. Well, you won't be able
It's
to
not
share.
enough to have a holiday, but
You won't be able
I'm
to share
making
your
it
pearls of
this
wisdom
time.
then, will you?
I do think though, it's quite important when young people are getting
Yeah.
wanting to hear about the parish council and getting involved and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I do remember a young person coming to parish council meetings at the old council chamber, Isaac.
Oh, hello.
How old were you then? About 10 years ago?
Yeah.
13.
Well, exactly. I'm looking at them. These are our future parish councillors, these people. So,
Well, the composition and.
PhD student. He's older than I
Yeah.
But still.
Apart from the 3rd.
Plus you
Not
have
the,
a
not
youth
the,
degree.
Not the 3rd, not the 12th.
yeah, I prefer it wasn't the 12th either.
So not 3rd, not 12th.
Not the 3rd, not 12th. Anybody else? Any vote for any more? not
And
3 o'clock.
presume you would rather go for an evening?
Evening, I think
Yeah.
it'd have to be 7
7
o'clock.
p.m.
Can we go with that?
It's fine.
So decide your own date now, or are you going to send something?
I will.
We can't, yeah, we can't really decide now because we're down a lot of members on the way, and it'll be, yeah.
I might send out a Google poll if it doesn't blow everybody's
Yeah,
minds.
that'd be fine.
Okay, good.
The doodle poll would be good, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Doodle polls. Thank you. It'll be quite interesting when we finally get to meet, won't it? Right, now I think let's move on. Item 13, I think a drum roll is required here.
Well, I think is the word.
Over to you, Steve.
Well, it's, yeah, major hiccup about 10 days ago. When,
Don't tell me I've got a reprint now.
because the cost from the original printer went sky high. So Les Matt led Hill, he's had to phone around and he's got it at a lower price. So finally, after long delays, we now have it.
It's very handsome. I think it's a really handsome.
I think he's done a good job in
Yeah, I think it's
taking a very dry topic.
Yeah, I think
It's
it's,
good now.
I think it's excellent, and it's not too over-facing, is it? It's not, it's not got too much.
I'm learning things here. How do you pronounce that, Steve?
What?
Chlorestery.
Cholesterol, yes.
Well, I've never heard of one before.
So we can only improve our knowledge of architectural terminology here, can't we? Yeah, I think this is great, and I must say I like our new logo looks good on it too. So it's just the first production with the new logo.
Yeah, it is. First
Yeah.
production thing, yeah.
So
Absolutely.
where does this go to
Yeah.
now? And how does it get there?
I think it's up to us to pass it round, take it round businesses, and
Well, I
Yeah.
always thought the people to take it to would be the agents.
take it to the agents. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the question is, how do you want to go about distributing? When you're going to,
And we've got
Take a
500.
snatch.
We've got 500.
would you want me to post it out, or, yeah, I need to know where to send them if you want me to send them out.
I mean, between Holmfirth and Homley, there are probably 300 businesses.
Yeah. So it needs.
So
to
if we
go
gave
out,
one to each of those businesses, we're still left with 200.
But I mean, it has quite a long shelf life as well. It's not
Yes.
something that's going to go out of
It's
date
not going to go
next
out of
week. It's pure design this one. I guess there's no money left in the budget to post it.
No, I think what we have to do is deliver on full.
I think we're responsible for our awards, which is a lot for Jane now, but
That's good.
yeah, sorry,
I've got somewhat of a better idea. What if you drop it off to one of the business association member, like the Homley Business Association, so they can distribute it?
It's quite a good idea.
Like a cascade situation.
Yeah, just pass it down and then they can.
Does anybody have an in at either of them?
We're waiting for certain to get distributed and therefore do that.
It would be interesting.
think
And not one of them are all businesses.
No.
And the Tom says it all first, didn't it? I can't remember her name at the moment. Can you?
I can't remember the name. I'll put businesses together. I mean, I just think if we have the time, it's a good thing to go around and introduce yourself and knock on the door, and I mean, and it's a good, it's something you could be quite proud giving this out. Sorry.
Or just say, I'll deliver some.
Yeah. Right.
So possibly what you need to do is come up with a list so that you don't give them all to the same business.
No. Well, I think that perhaps, some people get unlikely with this, and so they're then going to have to help perhaps Jane and I, who live at Hornborough Central, we've got the bulk of the shops, but perhaps people could be responsible for councillors for delivering in their ward to the businesses in their ward. And obviously you need to talk to the other person if there's more than one of you. If you haven't got it, then you need to liaise with Jane and I, and we can send you off with specific streets.
Going back to what Gemma said, have we got any sort of a database that says?
We have a database of all businesses in the Home Valley. However, what you've got to remember is lots of businesses are one person and they work from home.
Yeah.
I might be able to interrogate it in a way that it's a little bit out of date as well, but I might be able to interrogate it in a way that means that anything with a premises comes up. But again, that's going to bring up factories and farms and organising
but you can just walk. You can just walk around and see a shop. I mean, we're not. They only shops, obviously.
It's only shops, isn't it?
But it is a shopfront design guide, so that's where it should be going.
Well, according to this,
I wonder if I think I might be able to interrogate retail.
We'll see what-
like this thing.
Well, I've got the list of all the businesses in Huntsburg Centre. Only because I've done the vacancy survey.
there's 195 on here.
Yeah, some of those are outside what's classified as a centre. But I think I've got 183 on my list.
Shops.
But
Your
it
list is probably more up-to-date than
it excludes people like, I'm trying to think of the name of the company, above the cheese shop, there's an
Right.
education
Oh, yeah,
specialist,
yeah.
and people like that. It initially started at pavement level, but then we took it to shops above pavement level, because you had a couple on, 3 on holiday and things like that.
I can't see many here that you.
It might be, if there's 190 something on there, that feels like a decent
That's
start
good.
actually. And then there's a Harmony one of
Yeah.
these as well,
Yeah.
isn't there?
Can we pay for it? Could we pay for?
Do it by foot.
I think we should do it.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be
First thing is
doing
Royce
it right.
says
£90
Yeah.
in that budget, in that EMR left, that's not going to cover.
No, it's not going to
And I think it also
I think
helps,
we do it. I think we do it on foot.
it also helps, I think, if
Yeah.
you then go
I
and
think we could
introduce yourself as
Yeah.
a councillor.
Yeah,
Just
definitive list, we can
Yeah.
break it down.
So basically it's just Brockles, Hunley and done. Unless you include Newville. Skulls.
oh, we should include new
I'll tell you what, Councillor Ransby and I get our heads together, create the big list,
Yeah,
and then we can divvy it
Yeah.
up.
that sounds good.
Because it sounds like you've got.
Yeah, it sounds like I was about to suggest another working group, but I think perhaps not. I think we have enough working groups. Yeah, you do it, yeah. Yeah, it's great to have got to this point as well. It's been a long time for me, so it's great.
What's your response time on that?
Yeah.
Shop fronts, what is the response time from shopkeepers or whatever, when they've seen it? How have we given a time scale?
Well, they'd only need it if they wanted to make changes, wouldn't they?
They
We're not
need, first of all,
asking to
when they've got
respond.
this, they need to sit down and think about it, what they're gonna do,
That's
what's
what
it gonna cost them, etc.
developers are the ones. that
Development,
want it.
yes, and that's a good, yeah.
I assume we want it to be uniform across all the shops, colour-wise, right?
That would be good, wouldn't it? Muted colours.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, there are in some of these towns, that they are, similar, look as though they all belong.
Yeah.
I mean, is this what we intend doing?
Doing it right. Well,
Well,
If you give people a free run at it, they'll be all colours.
Well, the intention is that there will be a degree of similarity in design presentation of shop fronts rather
Oh,
than.
that's fine, but we're going to tell them in this booklet how
Well, that does tell them. Hopefully.
right, I think we've got a way forward, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll
If
talk
you,
to.
if you two
Right.
listen, then, yeah. Okay, right, thank you. Item 14, Hunferth Town Centre Group. Anything to
No, we
report?
haven't had another meeting.
So I haven't
so-
had a meeting, right. Item 15, very long minutes, gosh, I think it's lengthy minutes. Kirklees Public Rights of Way Forum. Anybody, are we just?
No, so
No,
Does
noted.
anyone go to that now? I've lost track of this.
Well, somebody should go.
I don't wanna go.
Yeah, I used to be
Councillor Green, used to be Councillor Green used to go to, but then he dropped down.
when it's full council, we'll often
Yes.
delegates and
well,
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Are you interested,
I
Harry?
had a message off a fellow friend of mine the other day asking if we can get particular signs, one public footpath sign saying running time, keep the dog on the lead. That type of thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
'Cause it is a big thing, and then there's also the likes of Neosporin in dog poop, which kills unborn fetuses and
Yeah.
sheep and cows as well.
We have requested the arrow discs before from Kirklees, but we never got anywhere with that, unfortunately. So I don't know where it goes to, that we can bypass the
Again.
out of office
Mm.
10-week wait thing that we get, but there must be a way.
I think one of the problems with this is it's a forum, it's not a.
Yes, yeah.
It's in Huddersfield.
Mm.
Well, raise it there.
We should have some, but we should have somebody on it really, and to raise the kind of issues that you
Because other parishes are on
that
there.
you've raised.
Parish town.
Yeah.
Other towns and
Yeah,
parishes.
but my cousin told me it is.
Do we know who the footpath officers are now down there? Anybody, any
Well, there's a
idea?
list of them on the, I mean, that meeting was attended by so many Kirklees officers, so you'll be able to see who they are on that very long minutes.
It's the one that we normally do
Yeah.
in relation to
Yes.
changes and consultations, isn't
Yeah.
it? Paul Champion, I think.
But when we have when the new council meets, then we decide, we really do need to decide that somebody, allocate somebody to attend that meeting. Because quite often, there are footpaths in the Home Valley that come up quite often. Okay, can we note those minutes? Thank you. Right, Kirklees local plan review. We had a really, I thought really interesting meeting on Friday, which was attended by, and I've been getting her name wrong all this time. Evidently she's called Joanne Scrutton. Yes.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm just looking for the notes I made on the meeting. Yeah.
The other lady was Hannah.
And
Anna Morrison.
Hannah Morrison. And we had a meeting with about 10 items on the agenda. In fact, we really only got through the first item, which was Joanna and Hannah talking to us and answering questions, and I thought it was really very, very useful. And they did seem to be as on top of anything as they can. So yes, so we started at 4 and ended at 5:30, and we just had this one item. But it was. I thought it felt like good partnership working, and I think it will go somewhere. I have nearly finished. I won't go through the highlights now, but I've nearly finished writing up the notes from that meeting. But it looks as though that Joanna, they want to work with us. She subsequently sent us copies of the presentation that she had, which I'll send them round to everybody when I send round these notes. But as I think we were aware really, they are trying to do a local plan in the context of everything changing nationally, a lot of change nationally, and the new national policy, national planning policy framework, and as we know, is an increased number of houses ideally every year. It was 1,730 before, it's now gone up to 1,840, fairly large increase. But some good stuff about an emphasis on affordability and also a lot of discussion about the grey belt and green belt, which as we've seen is now coming up in our in our planning applications. So it was excellent, and I think we'll probably repeat it. Joe is going to get in touch with us about what we can help, what we can do to help. Does Andy and Steve were there? Did either of you want to add anything to that?
I think you summed it up fairly well.
I thought the timescale was quite interesting.
Yeah.
And she said the last one took, did you
Yeah.
hear about
7 years,
7.5
7.5 years, yes,
And
and it's
they've got to do this one in 30 months.
30 months, yeah.
They're already behind, so I don't get too
Already
excited.
behind, yeah. But they're doing a clever, well, I think it's quite a clever thing. They have been in touch with the planning inspectorate, so they're not just doing this on the quiet. So they're going to make their 30 months start in January 26. So it'll be 30 months from then.
So are they stressing that they're going to build 1,800 houses now?
No,
No,
that's
that's
okay, please.
You go.
It's been a sigh of relief. Yeah. No, that really would.
There's only 15
Oh, that's right.
And there will be, Joe was hoped to have a second phase of the early engagement. I mean, if you might remember, we kind of rushed around and submitted an early engagement. It's a bit rough and ready it was, but anyway, it went in. So there's going to be another chance to do some more early engagement, probably in the new year. So no, it felt really good. But yeah, she admits it's slipped. The timetable is slipped, inevitably. Okay, so that reference group is open to everybody, and something everybody. Well, yeah, it's open to everybody. It's open for local organisations or individuals who are interested, and any parish councillors who wish to come. And something I just wanted to float but not discuss at this point really is that maybe it might be better for that reference group to actually be attached to the full council rather than to planning. Just, I don't know, because of its very wide scope that it covers, but that's something to consider later. Okay, sorry that was a bit of a rush through. Right, anything? You've got copies of minutes in your pack, but in a way things have moved on a bit from that. So move on to item 17, which is the neighbourhood development plan, and back to Steve.
Having had my previous draft demolished, I'm now in the process of rewriting it, hopefully to the approval of my previous critic. I might go to someone else next time. But yeah, hopefully this time it will meet approval.
Joanne was suggesting that it may change anyway,
Well,
or it has to change.
it might have to change it, so yes, but it'll give us a starting point for when we get round to changing it. But
you're working on the old one, aren't you?
I'm working on, yes. We can only work with what we've got.
Thank you. Okay, item 19, publicising, finalising, publicising the work. Assistant clerk to update.
Yeah,
Have I missed one?
budget.
Oh, yes, budget, sorry, yes.
Not much to report on budget because we're in a new
One
year.
budget line under its remit, so the neighbourhood plan 2,500, right? Okay, so I have no expenditure on that budget line so far. That's for next year, 2025-26. Okay. And there is obviously the design guide is the main right. It's more or less empty now. Did you say there's left?
I can confirm that the printing for those came in at £290 in the end, so we are left with £90 in the EMR. If you don't wish to use it, it can be returned.
Can I suggest we return it?
Let's return it, yeah.
It might also serve as an example to other committees.
Oh, yes, let's take them all by the round,
Yeah,
yes.
why not?
In return.
We've only 90 quid.
Would you put that money back if you had the minimum printers on stock?
Right, so,
Would you put the money back if the
item,
printers
so,
on stock?
item 19 now, so, that's.
No, I mean, it all came from, it wasn't coming out of my pocket.
No, but I mean,
If it hadn't, if it had come in over budget, we would have to go and grovelling and say, can we have
yeah.
another £3?
As I say, is it changing the printers the reason for the?
Yeah.
Right. So that works out well.
Yes, fortunate.
So, publicity.
Fine, item.
Sorry. Publicity wise, we will start going out with the save the date information and the call out for exhibitors for the big community event in November. So that's going to be coming out in the next week or so. I am hoping that the Brockwells, I'm going to ask not Brockwells, it was never Brockwells, was it? The New Mill School will, I'm going to ask them for a photo so I can do a little piece on the bollards as well. But if anybody else has got anything else that they would like. Design guide, yeah, we could write a piece on the design guide. That's a really good point. I might need to, when we work together, to put the list together, Steve, get a few quotes from you about the rationale behind it and why we want people to take it on board.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay, yeah.
It's your chance of getting about the colourblind people.
Yeah,
Sorry?
accessibility is important. Actually, blue with white text is better for people with all kinds of neurodiversity. But a lot of people struggle with a white page as well. So.
Thank you, thanks Emma, thanks everybody, right? End of the last, formal meeting. But we will be meeting again to look at planning applications. Oh, sorry, I know the meeting's finished, but I left people a copy of this is the reference map.